What's up, guys? Welcome back to the 1973 Honda CB500 for Café Racer Bill. In this video, I'm going to be rebuilding the front brake caliper. This is kind of a tutorial for any vintage Honda CB with a single piston front brake caliper. In a previous video, I installed stainless steel brake lines, a new master cylinder, flushed the whole system, and the one thing I didn't do, guys, you can probably guess, rebuild the caliper. I didn't do any of that, and now I have a front brake squeaking. We got a squeak, and we're not doing too good right now. It's really weird squeaking though, because it doesn't happen all the time. It's only after the bike is warmed up and the braking components are warmed up. So maybe there's a little bit of water inside the caliper, and once it gets hot in there, it expands and causes the piston to contract and well, squeeze onto the brake disc when it shouldn't be. So we're gonna rebuild it today. This is the caliper rebuild kit that I'm using. I got it on eBay for about $25 from Taiwan. And here's what is in it. We've got a new seal. That's the most important part. I think maybe the only part I needed. Well, actually, I needed this part too, the bleeder valve. The one on mine is all stripped out. And then we have a new piston. So let's go pop my piston out and see if we actually need to replace it. The caliper is held on by two 14mm bolts here and here. Let's go ahead and remove those. There we go. This caliper consists of the front piston part and the back plate with the other brake pad. This one stays on here, so we don't need to mess with that at all. What we're concerned with is this brake pad, which we can go ahead and pull that out. And then there's this nylon washer. This stays with the brake pad. Piston's looking a little bit cruddy. Let's pop this piston out and have a look at the insides. That's what matters. For this part, you're going to want a little tray or plastic cup or something to catch all the brake fluid, because it's going to come spewing out of here in just a minute. Also, keep a couple of rags handy to clean up the mess, especially if any of the brake fluid gets on your painted parts of your bike, because it can actually eat the paint away pretty quickly. How might you get that piston out of there? Well, simply use the front brake, the master cylinder. Just squeeze it. See how soft it is? That's because there's nothing against it. And let's watch the piston come out. Yep, it's coming out. A few more pumps and it'll probably pop out here in a second. Hopefully it doesn't hit me in the face and kill me. I don't know. I've never actually done this. I think the piston's out. Yep. There's the piston. And there's all the brake fluid coming out, and there's a ton of dirt in there. Tons and tons of dirt. And there's my piston, guys. Not that bad, but there is some gelled up brake fluid on there. And it's a little bit dirty. There's some pitting. See that rust right there? This thing definitely would have started leaking eventually if I hadn't rebuilt it. Let's go ahead and remove the old seal. And I'm going to just use this little pick from Harbor Freight to get it out. There it is. Popped right out. Let's see how this seal is. Not too bad. I mean, it wasn't leaking, but definitely seems like it's starting to dry up. I'm just going to go ahead and take my rag and start cleaning out the inside of this caliper. It's looking better already, but there's still some stubborn stuff in there that just won't come out. Also, seems like a good time to remove that bleeder valve. Mine's so messed up that you can't use a wrench. Gotta use some vice grips. There it is. Nice.
Nice.
And with the piston out, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the master cylinder cap on the top. Not too much fluid left. Now I'm going to take some brake fluid, dump it in there just to let it drain out, kind of clean out anything that's left in the lines. Okay, there we go. That's all that fluid that I poured in there, and now it's starting to come out clean. There's obviously some corrosion inside this caliper. So to remove that corrosion, I'm going to be using this etching mag or aluminum wheel cleaner. I use this on my whole engine in a different video. If you want to see how to clean and polish your engine the easiest way possible, check the link up here or in the description. I'm going to try using a little bit of this to clean out the inside of the caliper as well. So first I'm going to wipe out the rest of that brake fluid, and then we'll spray just a little bit of this stuff in. I'm not going to go crazy with it. Just going to wipe it around, and just a few seconds later it's already starting to foam up and do its job, so I'm just going to let it sit for a little bit and get rid of that corrosion. So now I'm going to use a soft brass brush just to brush around in there and kind of agitate whatever corrosion did not come off. Make sure to clean out that inside seal surface. You don't want to use a steel brush because that could scratch the aluminum and lead to leaks down the road. Ooh. I think I might have been pushing a little bit too hard there. So now I'm going to take a little shop towel and wipe all of that wheel cleaner and gunk corrosion out, get all that cleaned out. Now I'm going to use some brake and parts cleaner to spray in and just spray out whatever else is left. Alright, last spray. Now I'm just going to let that dry out without wiping it, and then we'll be ready for our new piston and seal. Looks a whole lot better now. Before we install the new seal, we want to make sure to lubricate it with some DOT3 brake fluid. This is the brake fluid I'm going to be using. It's a brand new container, synthetic brake fluid, pretty good stuff. So I'm going to pour a little bit in the cap there, it's nice and clear, and just get some all over this new seal. Okay, seal's nice and oiled up. So now we can go ahead and slip it into the caliper. There we go, it's in. We just need to get it seated. Get a little bit more brake fluid on my finger there, and we're ready to put the piston in. Just make sure it's nice and clean. And then I'm going to get some brake fluid on it, lube it up so that it slides into that seal nice and easily. And just pop it in. There it is. Can't get much easier than that. Okay, now we're going to replace the brake pad. We want to make sure not to touch the brake pad surface. And this is something that I forgot to do the last time, but this is ceramic brake lubricant. It is good at eliminating squeaks. It's going to be a lot easier just to install this brake lubricant to the piston and the caliper itself. That's going to make it a lot easier to not get any on the brake pad, which is very important. And we're going to squeeze some out onto the back of the piston, and then a little bit on the sides of the caliper as well. And then before we install the brake pad, I'm going to take my brake parts cleaner, spray the pad off, make sure there's nothing on it. Pop it in. And then I'm going to take a little brake cleaner on a rag and carefully wipe the excess grease off of the caliper, making sure not to get any on the pad. I don't know if you really need to do this, but I'm going to squeeze a little bit of grease into the back plate and a little brake clean. And we're going to reassemble it the same exact way we disassembled it. Pop those two bolts back in. And I'll tighten these bolts up by hand, nice and tight. Okay, and then before I install the bleeder valve, I'm going to get some anti-seize lubricant on it so it doesn't get stuck in there and give somebody a headache down the road. Because that's how I am. I'm a nice guy. I think about that kind of stuff. Certified nice guy right here. Yep, and that's an 8mm nut, so got my socket. No more vice grip. There we go, got it tight. Now I'm going to fill the master cylinder with brake fluid. And about to the halfway point, I'm going to start pumping up the master cylinder until we get some pressure. Now I'm going to open up the bleeder valve just a little bit, just to let some air out of the system. And then I've got an open end wrench ready, because that's what we're going to use to bleed the air out of it. If you let go of the lever while this is open, it's just going to pull more air in. So you're going to hold the lever down and then tighten this valve down to keep the air out. A lot of air bubbles coming out of there, you can see them. Just about out of brake fluid now, so I'm going to go ahead and top it off. There we go. And I'll tighten it up, then let go of the lever. And then loosen the valve again, squeeze the lever again, tighten it up, keep doing that process until all the air is out. I don't see any more air coming out of the bleeder valve. Now I can replace the cap. And we should be ready to ride. Feels good. I don't feel them dragging. That's all you want to check for, is just the dragging while you're not pulling in the lever. And pull it in, and we've got brakes. Now we just need to go on a ride and see if they start squeaking after about 15-20 minutes of riding. That's the true test. But it feels a lot better. It feels like a lot more responsive. I like the lever feel a lot better now. Oh yeah. Alright, let's ride. And that's going to be it for this video. You guys will have to stay tuned for the next video where I take this bike to another car show and show it to some people. And then that is when we'll find out if rebuilding the front brake caliper stopped that squeaking or not. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when this video comes out right here, hit that notification bell. Comment down below what you guys think. Like if you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Peace.